we don't normally get you. We don't see you in here. We don't get people with
No.
16 broken ribs, amputated toes, and broken toes, and you know.
And so them giving you all of those drugs and the opioids included, did you find that, are you still, one, are you still taking pain meds because of your injuries? And two, you were 38 months sober.
Yep.
Do you feel like that
I have
is
two
just
sobriety
regular
dates.
medical care? Or do
No,
you,
no.
yeah,
In reality, I have two sobriety dates. I have, I have 2 June of 2022, and I
yeah,
have 28 July of 2025, because I was discharged on the 23rd of July. I was given 6 days of oxycodone 10 down from everything else I was taking and nothing else. When that ran out,
yeah,
it ran out, and I was sober. I went through a withdrawal.
yeah,
I never worried about the addiction side of the drugs they were giving me. Number one, I never used any painkillers. I never used anything except methamphetamine. Methamphetamine was my drug of choice. I loved it. It calmed me down. It worked the opposite of what it does for most people because of my PTSD, because of my
ADHD.
C-PTSD, because of my
Yeah,
ADHD. Most people
yeah,
do not know that Docelin is is a is the clinical name of methamphetamine that's been a legal medicine
yeah.
from the FDA since the
Most of
late
those
40s.
ADHD drugs are methamphetamine, and I
Yes,
think a lot of people don't know
Adderall is
that.
just slightly different. Yeah, Adderall is slightly different than
Yes.
just straight
Yeah.
methamphetamine. But Docelin is
Yeah.
straight methamphetamine. If you look up Docelin, it is methamphetamine 100%. To be used in extreme
Interesting.
cases of ADHD and weight loss, it is methamphetamine perfectly, and it'll tell you that. Adderall is a slightly different version. Anybody took chemistry class, you get your little pentagons all over the place, and they just shifted it around
Yeah.
a little bit, but it's still basically methamphetamine.
Yeah.
And it has a different effect. Most people take methamphetamine and they speed out of control, and their brain is running around
Yes.
like on speed. I take methamphetamine, and I go, and I just sit there,
My daughter
calm
was
and
on
focused.
ADHD. One of my kids was on ADHD meds, and it same thing, just brought
Yep,
her down a lot.
yep,
So,
absolutely,
but then,
absolutely.
a lot of those people hate the way it makes them feel, so they don't want to take it because then they don't
When
feel
I
like they're themselves.
when I go to Narcotics Anonymous, when I go to Celebrate Recovery, and I speak and I facilitate, or I'm hosting, or whatever the case may be, I make sure everybody in there knows that I have two sobriety dates. I have the one of 2 June
Yeah.
2022, and I have 28 July of 2025. And the reason I call this my sobriety date, because on 8 July, they hit me with fentanyl, they hit me with
Yeah.
oxycodone, they hit me
Yeah.
with Dilaudid, they hit me with God knows what else. And I was on it for 15 days in a hospital, and down to just the oxycodone for 6 more days after. Therefore, I was not sober. I was under an influence of opiates, and
Yeah.
therefore I went through a withdrawal, and now I'm sober again.
Yeah.
It wasn't because I relapsed; it was because of a medical thing. But in reality, I
Yeah.
still was
But
using opiates, and I was addicted to them.
be, because you're in recovery, it's
Dangerous for some.
hard story.
Luckily for me, I'd never used opiates. I had a different. If they had put me on methamphetamine for 15 days, I might still be using it. I don't know. Thank goodness that's not the treatment for 16 broken ribs. They don't put you on methamphetamine. So
No,
I didn't have to figure that out. I didn't have to
that's
figure that out.
and that's good. That's good. That's really good.
I didn't have to
I
find
can't
out if
even
that was the
imagine.
case. I didn't have to find out if that was the case. I wouldn't want to know.
So
I don't
when
want to know. I don't want to be on methamphetamine for 2 weeks to see if I could stop again. I want it to just
no,
stop.
I would imagine not. So when do you think that you will have your book complete and ready to publish? What is your
Oh, my goal is
end goal
December.
for that?
I hope to have it to the
December.
publish. I hope to have it to the publisher in December, and then we
So
get.
you are going to a
Then they
publisher.
throw it back at me. Then they throw it
Yeah,
back at me and
of
say, now you
course.
need to change all this.
Now you need to
There'll be
edit
a
the
draft
whole
version.
thing.
Yeah, there'll be a draft version. There'll
Yeah.
be a draft version out there. My psychiatrist, my what are their names? My professors at the
many of them.
university, my university professors of psychology that I'm getting my degree from, they have 2 separate publishers that they say are ready to take it and do something with it. So I think
Well,
they're
yeah,
anxiously waiting for it. Anxiously
I
waiting
mean,
for it.
from what I've read, because I've been reading what you share,
That's pretty scary.
and I've read what you shared with me directly, and yeah, and so I mean, it's excellent because you bring us into your entire world, and it's so easy to relate to in the way that you've written it and the way that you describe things. Like, I mean,
I thank you for that.
you've got a
I thank you
gift
for that.
for sure.
I've always been able to write. It's been something I've been able to do my whole life, thank goodness. But
Yeah.
with my injury, with my illness, with my ADHD,
Yeah.
with my brain running 1,000,000 miles an hour, forcing myself
Yeah.
to write it out keeps me focused, for the most part,
Yes.
on what I'm talking about. It doesn't spin off on 8,000 directions. I wrote this because, aside from putting everybody to sleep in here, which it probably would do if I just read it and just droned on about it, the book allows people to read it when they want to read it, at their pace, how they want to read it. It allows me to slow my thing down, get my points across, get my subjects across, and explain it in a manner that can grasp everybody. Because in here, I might have a tendency to go too fast. I jump from thing to thing to thing to thing. I miss my own points sometimes. I don't hit everything I want to hit. In the book, I get to make sure that it's in there. Darn it, it's in there. I've gone back 100 times now already and added chapters, or said, oh my goodness, I need to make sure I talk to them about this. Oh my goodness, I need to make sure they understand this. I'm to the point now where we're dealing with mostly the redemption part of it. And the mental emotions you go through like I did. I built back up, oh my God, who knows how many times, but 4 no kidding times, where I literally had my own place to live, my vehicle, my tools, my trailers, the income, the lifestyle of a normal person in society functioning at a good solid income, and went right back down to nothing again, sitting in jail, going back through prison, coming back out with absolutely nothing again, going through the mental emotions of getting it back and destroying it again, getting it back and destroying it again. Do you want to continue to fight? Do I want to get out and do what is easy, make money illegally? Or do I want to go out and struggle and make money the hard way? Do I want to do it with a criminal record, which is harder than just doing it naturally? On and on. Every single emotion you go through, it is something else to have to deal with, especially when you're battling mental health issues simultaneously. And I like to bring people there with me to let them know what it was like to be sleeping on the front porch of an empty hotel room on the beach in the wintertime when nobody's around, and to be eating out of dumpsters or going to the soup kitchen or living in a shelter or in a inpatient mental health program like I've been innumerable times, involuntarily committed multiple times, and having to deal with everything that hits in the head. The death of my mother, my father, and my fiance in a 3-month period out of nowhere. But all 3 of them surprised. My mother dying of a massive heart attack en route to a medical appointment, not an emergency. She didn't have a heart condition. She gave herself a heart attack, panicking, calling my name, asking for Bruce to not let them take her because she thought she was getting locked up. Bruce was in prison instead of where he should have been, taking care of his mom. But you didn't catch that story. Yeah, in December of 2020, my mother, December 4th, passed away. She was being transported to the doctor's office to be checked out because she had been falling. One of my relatives, aunt's cousin, actually checked on her, seen some bruising, knew she'd been falling again, not telling anybody because she didn't want to be stuck in a nursing home. Contacted my brother, who's my brother, and he's his own person, and he sent for an ambulance to take my mother to the doctor. All she saw was, here comes the men in the white coats again to lock me up again, and I'm not getting out ever again. She had been institutionalized multiple times. She was elderly now. She panicked herself. She gave herself a panic attack. She was going on the ambulance with my cousin Thayer saying, Bruce, don't let them take me. Please, Bruce, don't let them take me. She went into cardiac arrest. She died en route to the hospital instead of the doctor's office at Lehigh Med. She was dead on arrival, brain dead. I was in prison, called up to the warden's office to be informed of this by my brother, who was in panic, and having to decide to pull the plug on her, and he couldn't do it. He couldn't figure it out. He couldn't handle it. I had to talk him through it because I'd always handled those things for us. in our family. And then 3 months later, mid-March, I'd been paroled in early March. It takes about 30 days to actually get out. My father committed suicide. He went out in his backyard and blew his brains out. And he's a veteran.
God.
And my grandfather committed suicide when I was 12. So there's all that. And my father and I hadn't spoken in years, and we had a horrible relationship. I talked about it at the beginning. We weren't close. I hate to say it harshly, but I wish he had gone about 45 years sooner. Things have been very different for at least my mother. But still, your father committed suicide. You still have to digest that. 2 weeks later, my fiance, 2 days before I get released, dies of an overdose. I get released 2 days later and attend her funeral that Friday. I got out on a Tuesday, and that Friday I attended her funeral. 38 years old, 2 daughters, not ours, hers. And all that just at once. I lost my mother, my father, my fiance, and her 2 children that I'd raised for 4 or 5 years. And here you go. You're back out of prison with nothing, and now everybody the people you cared about most, the people you were closest to, my mother, my fiance, and her 2 daughters are gone. Now what's your purpose in life? I didn't have one. That Friday night after the funeral, I smoked methamphetamine again, went back in active addiction for 1.5 years before I got arrested the last time in May of 2022. There's a lot there. There's a lot there for people that are out there struggling with addiction, that are struggling with homelessness, that are struggling with mental health issues, that are struggling with combinations of both, to know that you can get back here. You can get back to where I'm at. It's not easy. It will not be easy. It will be a struggle. And if you're like me and you didn't have anybody, it's really a struggle.
Then you got to take a look at yourself and say, I need to be here for me, and that's that, and decide, right?
I had to find a purpose. I had to find a purpose.
Yeah.
I had to find a new purpose. I found my new purpose. I finally realized my new purpose is to be here right now helping people that are hopefully listening to this. I've been doing it now for 3 years, a lot, and I've had some success, and it's unbelievable when I hear from the people that are doing very well, that have been in sobriety and their lives have turned around, and they thank me way too much for it, and they attribute way too much of it to me because I can't do anything for them. They have to do it. So it's really them. But boy, oh boy, it makes me feel all puffy inside and all good about myself because I helped somebody
I bet.
that wasn't doing very well. I played a role. They want to give me too much credit. I always come right back at them. I didn't do anything. You did it.